In the ordinary way that people understand reality, they consider that to be the end of their life, right? When the body dies, I'm gone, right? Because I am the body. Now, you know, it's not hard for you to recognize that you're not the body. How could I be my hand? My hand's not looking at me, I'm looking at it, right? Your body is appearing in your awareness. Your body is something you can look at, right? Your body is something you can sense. You can sense the heart beating. You can look at the physical body. You can look at your legs and arms and so forth. Therefore, what you are is seeing the body, not being the body, right? So the evidence is there that we're not the body, but even with the evidence being clear that we're not the body, we identify with the body. You know, when you get pulled over by a cop, he wants to see a picture of your body. That's called your ID, right? Your body's your ID. If you think about the past, if you go to picture something about your past, you will have an image of your body somewhere in the past doing something, right? So that's how we have been conditioned to identify with the physical body, right? But the good news is you can decondition that conditioning. You can come out of that conditioning and come into the natural state, come into the truth, which is you're not the physical body, and you're not the personality. The personality is being generated by thinking. That's why in meditation we're practicing being out of the thought activity. Why? Because the thought activity is generating an illusion. The thought activity is generating the idea that you're this personality, right? But you can't show it to me. You can't tell me where it is. You know, one of the things my teacher harps on all the time is he says, there is no self in this physical body. There's no self in here. There's no self in here. In fact, in the traditions, in the wisdom teachings, one of the primary focuses of the wisdom teachings is there is no self. There is no personal reality. The awareness that is the truth about you and I, the truth about who we are, is not a self. It's not a self. It's not personal. It's impersonal. It's like the space in this room is impersonal. It doesn't have an identity. It's not a personality. And that's not bad, you know, because that doesn't change anything in terms of our ability to function in the world. You can have a personality and not be a personality, and that'll work. But if you think you are a personality and you're being a personality, that doesn't work. All you have to do is start to pay attention, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Because a personality is a limited identity. It's a limited identity. The awareness that we are is an unlimited identity. The personality is a limited identity that identifies itself with the physical body. Okay? And that limited identity that considers itself to be separate from the world and separate from other people, right? That limited identity, right? Is in a process of living a life in which it believes it's going to die, in which it believes that it has to pursue happiness, it believes that it has to pursue peace, it believes it has to pursue satisfaction. Why? Because it's not experiencing happiness, satisfaction, and peace. Personality can't experience anything because the personality isn't real, right? And so when you believe your personality, that personality manifests itself. It shows up in thinking. If I ask you who you are, you tell me what you think. You tell me what you think about who you are. If I ask you who you are, where are you going to get the answer from other than to tell me what you think as far as what your identity is? Why is it that human beings suffer? And the answer to that question is because they think is why they suffer. And they think they're doing the thinking, and they think the thinking is legitimate. They think the thinking is realistic when it's not. And one of the things that they think consistently is that things should be different than they are. If you start to pay attention to your thought activity and your emotional state, you will watch yourself suffering. You'll see yourself suffering, right? You'll see yourself suffering. All you have to do when you leave here is get in your car and get into that traffic, and you'll see yourself suffering, right? Why? Because your brain automatically generates thoughts in reaction to what's happening, you know? This shouldn't be happening. I don't like this. I expect to leave here and drive from here to my house with nobody in my way. Can you see how crazy this is? With nobody in my way. Nobody should be in front of me going slower than me. I should be at the head of the pack. I should win this race to get home, right? That's the kind of thinking that goes on all the time. You know, we think that way about everything. When you look in the mirror, you're thinking about looking at the body and considering that to be you, and it's upsetting when you get older. You know, if you're younger and you happen to be fortunate to have a beautiful body, then you worry about losing it, which you will. You worry about losing it, right? And then you worry about then you worry about whether anybody that loves you or the body. The awareness continues to appear and disappear, you know, in form, right? Emptiness is form and form is emptiness, the Heart Sutra, right? So it's important to have the teachings because the teachings will be the foundation from which your motivation comes to do the practice of meditation. In Zen, they say, what is the practice of Zen? If you go to a Zen center, they say this is a place where people come to practice, right? What is the practice of Zen? In Zen, the practice is called Zazen, and the practice of Zen is meditation. Why? Why does the entire teaching, wisdom teaching, depend on meditation? Because meditation is where you take the understandings and apply them into a practice that will allow you to actually experience the truth instead of just know about it. And it must be possible for us to experience the truth because we are the truth. You know, I think something interesting is happening, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of the contemporary teachers are talking a little differently than the ancient teachers did about enlightenment or waking up and so forth and so on. In the ancient teachings, it was like an unusual thing for somebody to wake up, you know, and then they became a guru, right? And they had all these people following them. You know, when I first learned about this stuff when I was in college, I really wanted to be a guru because I thought it was the best possible occupation. All I had to do was sit there and have people come and bring me flowers and, you know, and just smile and just tell everybody how wonderful everything is, you know, until I realized the truth, you know, that's not actually an accurate representation of these teachings. You know, there were a lot of reasons why that happened in the ancient cultures and civilizations, right? But we're way long away from that. There was no brain science in those days, right? There's brain science now. And the way I look at it is that, and this is the way this is changing. The way I look at it is that the teachings tell us that we are all the same awareness. And that's part of the teaching. As you continue to practice meditation, that's something that will become evident to you. That the awareness that you are, which is formless and timeless, is the same exact awareness that all human beings are experiencing. It's the exact same awareness. There is no difference between me and you. You know, that's why if you want to practice, you know, to treat your neighbor the way you want them to treat you, right? All you have to do is get that they are you. It gets easy. You know, if they are you, how could you not treat them the way you want to be treated, right? So it's based on the truth. We all are the exact same awareness. There is no difference between one awareness and the other, right? And that means that we all share the same possibility to wake up. Nobody's special, nobody's gifted. You know, one of the things that Jesus Christ said, and he was an awake human being that was trying to teach this, is that you're not different from me. Why would he try and teach this to people if he was special? He wasn't special. You know, if you wake up, you won't, see, I'm not, you know, I've experienced being awake, right? And that doesn't make me different from you, it makes me the same as you. The difference is something that you're experiencing because you're identifying yourself with something other than what you are, that's all. It's as simple as that, right? So the understanding that is coming to pass now in this day and age is that every human being has the potential to wake up. And how hard can it be when it's already true? How hard can it be to wake up when you're already awake, right? And the only reason you think you're not awake is because you're paying attention to something that is dead. You've identified yourself with something that is dead. You've identified yourself with something that doesn't exist, right? And so how can you wake up when you've identified yourself with something that doesn't exist, right? So the practice of meditation is moving your attention away from the thought process that keeps you in that state of identifying with something that doesn't exist, called the personality, right? Only exists in thinking, doesn't exist anywhere else, and there's no self in this physical body. These things can be directly experienced. In the beginning, you may hear them, and for some people, when they hear them, it's disturbing. Like, what? You know, I've been living my life this way, and you're telling me it's a mistake? Well, you could either look at that as good news or bad news, right? Because if it wasn't a mistake, you're stuck living the rest of your life that way, right? But since it's good news, you can wake up, and it's easier than you think. It's so easy that you can't do it. You literally cannot do waking up. You can't do something that's already happened, can you? That's like me asking you to be seated right now. What are you going to do? You know, all you have to do is notice you are seated, and then you're seated, right? The same thing is true with this awareness. All you have to do is practice noticing that you are the awareness, and eventually that identity will replace the mistake, and you'll stop being what you're not. And when you stop being what you're not, guess what? What you've wanted more than anything else becomes immediately available at all times. And what is it that you want more than anything else? It's the same across all of humanity, because almost everybody is stuck in this misunderstanding. And when you're stuck in this misunderstanding, the things you want most in life as an experience are unavailable to you. The process is challenging because the identity that you think you are is not going to let go easily. No. It's going to try and keep that. It's going to try and save its ass, right? It's going to try and keep the survival going. And for you to stop thinking that you are what you're not is a threat to the survival of that which you're not, right? So the mind does not, the identity that you've been conditioned to be does not like meditation. It doesn't want to do this. That's why if you attempt to practice, if you attempt to establish a consistent meditation practice, you'll notice a lot of particular kinds of thoughts show up, like not now, or I'm too busy, right? Or the one I like the most is I'm too upset. Meditation is designed to help you escape from suffering, but I'm too busy suffering to do it. That's about as nuts as you can get. And people literally say that, you know, oh, I was too upset to meditate. I'm too busy to meditate. I'm too tired to meditate. I got other more priorities to deal with than to do meditation. I don't like the experience of meditation. My mind's racing. You know, all of us have been hypnotized to want to be comfortable all the time. Isn't it true? We've been hypnotized to want to be comfortable all the time and get what we want and not get rid of what we don't want. So that's our mode of operation, right? I'm seeking comfort and pleasure, and I'm looking to avoid anything that makes me uncomfortable and threatens me. That's what I do all day long, and then I'm tired of doing that, and I go to sleep and get up and do it the next day. And this goes on and on and on, day after day. And you get all the things you want. They don't satisfy you in the long run, so you keep going on, you know, getting more and more, right? And eventually it starts to have an effect. It does start to have a psychological and emotional effect on people. You know, you start getting weary as you get older. You start getting tired of this, and you start realizing something's not okay here. Something's not working here. You might even blame yourself for it, right? But the reality of it is it's not your fault. You're innocent, right? You, like most human beings, have come into the world and gotten indoctrinated and conditioned to be in a form that you can experience a human life, right? And then the process stopped there. But that's not the end of the process. No, there is more to go, and the more to go means that now you have to wake up and return to the state you were in when you were a baby before you got the personality. Right? If you can return to the state when you were a baby, if you look at an infant that hasn't got language and hasn't learned to be a person yet, you see the innocence there? You see the immediate experience they're having of being alive, right? And they're not pursuing happiness. Infants aren't pursuing happiness. Infants are not pursuing peace. Infants aren't trying to get satisfied. They're in a direct relationship with life. They're in a direct relationship with everything that's happening, right? And then you get a personality, right? And you learn as a personality how things should be, right? And then you keep looking to see, are things the way they should be? Oh no, I'm upset. I don't like this. I don't want this, you know? And so your life is constantly changing things, changing my relationships, changing my house, changing my car, changing my clothes, changing my hairdo, changing my nose. You know, keep changing things all the time to try and find the right mixture, you know, then I'll be happy, you know. Even though I've never found it and it's getting late, you know, then I'll be happy. So what these teachings have to offer us is if you slow down and practice meditation, gradually you'll come out of the lie, gradually you'll come out of this conditioned state and start to experience something that's been there all along. If you can sit still and be silent, you may discover that your nature is stillness and silence. Your true nature is stillness and silence, like space. And it's there all the time. This awareness is there all the time. So by practicing meditation, it starts to be distinguished. You start to notice it, right? And gradually it starts to become your identity. Gradually you start to experience your life, and you experience your life as an experience of awareness instead of an experience of a limitation of a personality and a physical body. And then everything starts to work. It just starts to work naturally, because if you're already happy and your awareness, the awareness that is your true nature, is happy. That's its nature. It's just its nature to be happy. That's all. Doesn't need anything to be happy. It's not trying to be happy. It's just its nature to be happy. Well, why is its nature to be happy? Because its experience is fulfilled by its existence. Consider it. Your awareness is fulfilled by its own existence. That's what happiness is. It's happy to be here. It's happy to exist, right? Because without existing, without being here, there is no life. There is no show. There is no experience, right? So happiness is a natural state, and satisfaction is a natural state, because the awareness that you and I really are doesn't need anything. It's fulfilled already. It doesn't need anything. It's complete already. It doesn't need anything. It doesn't need food. It's not going anywhere. It didn't come from anywhere. It only exists in the present moment, right? And it's completely adaptable at all times. It's like the space in this room. It's completely adaptable at all times. No matter what happens, it's unaffected by that. Right? I'm saying these things because I want to give you an opportunity to consider this possibility as a real possibility for you. If you really consider this possibility as a real possibility for you, right, and you understand, in order to have this experience, you're going to have to come out of the delusion you're in. You're going to have to get unhypnotized, because being a person is a hypnotic reality. You know, you have to get unhypnotized. How do you get unhypnotized? By practicing day after day the simple experience of meditation, in which you're moving away from the conditioning which appears in thinking and starting to experience the simple, clear, satisfied, happy, peaceful nature that is your birthright, that is the actuality of what you and I are. That's what's available. So when you come to a meditation class like this, a lot of people come and they think, oh, it's just meditation. We're just going to sit still and follow the breath. That's just meditation. That's what it is. That's what most people think meditation is. And if you thought that's what it was, and then you come to this class and you hear me say what I'm saying, I hope you realize it's a hell of a lot more than just that. This is something that if you practice it the way it's meant to be done, it can transform your life. It can have your life be a different experience in which peace, happiness, and satisfaction are always available to you. You wake up that way in the morning. You wake up in the morning unburdened with all the responsibilities that you're carrying on your shoulders. And you realize that what you're here to do is experience life, experience being alive. And it doesn't matter what happens, it's all life. It's all wonderful. They call it in the teaching Layla, the play of consciousness. Consciousness is just having fun playing in life. It's not real, it's all an appearance. Right? That's really available, and if you can really practice meditation consistently enough, that will be something that becomes obvious to you. You will see what I'm talking about for yourself. You will see it for yourself. You will actually see it for yourself. And once you see it for yourself, right, you don't need any motivation after that. You don't need it after that. Then the one thing you will make sure you do more than anything else in the course of a day is practice meditation. Because when you see the truth of this, that's like getting oxygen to practice meditation. Okay? But that's why this is called the practice. You're practicing your way out of being consistently crazy and stupid to being consistently wise and present. It's a practice. And the more you understand that, the more you want to practice so you can be wise, happy, peaceful, and clear-minded instead of confused, suffering, wanting everything to be different and afraid of dying. So you're not detaching, you're just seeing it the way it really is. And when you see it the way it really is, you still have a body and this game is still being played, right? But now you're happy, peaceful, and satisfied first, and then you're playing the game. Instead of playing the game to try and get the peace, happiness, and satisfaction. It's a different game. It's a game of celebration instead of a game of trying to get fulfilled. You're already fulfilled. Kabish?